Good evening and welcome on in, Dbacks fans, to another exciting off-season edition of Dbacks Dispatch here with your trio of hosts, Gabe to your left, Brandon to your right, and myself, Brett, in the middle. We appreciate all you guys tuning on in here, as this is our first podcast of the 2026 new year. As we haven't seen you guys in a minute, so again, we do appreciate you guys tuning on in. Hopefully everybody had a great holiday and a great new year. As we look forward into 2026, we can put 2025 and all that behind us fully, and look forward to hopefully some more news coming out as with all the holidays passing. Hopefully some GMs and teams are ready to find out their home for 2026 and beyond. Especially we see some of the some names here and there, obviously not Dbacks related, but other teams around the league are getting active and being more active. We're hearing some more news, so hopefully we can get some more news in regards to the Dbacks in the meantime. But if this is your first time tuning on into an episode of Dbacks Dispatch, we want to welcome you in here, and we appreciate you spending your free time with us. Whether you're listening to us on the live chat here at YouTube, the YouTube replay, or even over on Apple, Spotify, wherever you may listen to your podcast, we do truly appreciate it. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube side, or share it with a friend if you know a Dback fan in your life that would enjoy maybe listening to us while over here, while we three absolute ball knowers, or to absolute no ball knowers, as some people might say, discuss some Dbacks news, especially as we get into the new season here. We'll do more frequent shows, probably around 2 a week. Obviously, we do our series recaps, but if you're on the Apple or Spotify side, you could leave a review, 5-star, 1-star, whatever you feel like we are. We would appreciate that as well. Also, make sure you follow us on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then while you're on any of the socials, or either in the description here, pretty much the description everywhere should be a link to our Discord, which is absolutely free to join. You don't got to pay a single penny. We'd love to have you guys in there, especially if it's, there's more stuff outside of Dbacks. There's basketball discussions, hockey, football, video games, self-promotion, stuff like that. So we'd love to have you guys join the community over there if you are not already over there. And then also, finally, make sure you guys go over to azsnakepit.com. Check out the great articles. Our man Jeff today put out a series review, or a season review of Cattell Marte, and there's also a bunch of other great writers, a couple of them in our Discord as well, but a lot of great writers in the community over on azsnakepit.com, and a lot of great community involvement. So make sure you guys go on over there and join the community there as well. But we are here for a little bit of a mailbag dispatch. We haven't done any dispatch mailbag in quite a long time, as usually we at least have some kind of news to discuss, but obviously with the holidays, the only news has been rumors and all that. We haven't had anything really concrete, if we're being completely honest. So again, if you guys are tuning on in here, if you have any questions for us, let us know in the chat, and we'll get to them as we go through the show. We have a few from our Discord, which again, a reason why, join the Discord. A few from our Discord that we got before the show that we wanted to kind of open up the show with here. And we are going to jump on into the first one here. Let me pull up the... I don't even remember where we put the... There we go. Okay, so the first one we had here was from our boy Landon, a.k.a. Corbin Carroll enthusiast over on Twitter. He said, "What do you believe are the odds of a Marte trade/Bregman signing?" So for me, I honestly think the odds are, even Jesse and Jack said on their show, Snakes Territory, I think they're saying that the Marte odds probably less than 50%. About this point, I'm not going to say anything and put it in the universe and jinx it. I think the chance of signing Bregman is a little bit maybe more than 50%, especially with the Blue Jays signing Okamoto. It seems like it's going to put just the Dbacks and Red Sox as the two favorites to sign Alex Bregman. I wouldn't necessarily hate it, but I don't think that it's going to actually happen. I hope that the Marte trade's not going to happen, but I think whatever reality it does, I think that would lead to a Bregman signing. I mean, I don't know why we can't just keep Marte and sign Bregman, especially if we want to fill that hole at third base, but that'll probably also mean trading Jordan Lawler and giving up on him a little bit too early. But I would say putting both of them around either 50%, maybe a little bit lower, or a little bit above. I think it's kind of a flip of a coin at this point, but we've been surprised by Hazen before. Obviously, last year we didn't expect Corbin Burnes to be a Diamondback. I know there's been some rumors about the D-backs being aggressive, so we're definitely hearing more about Bregman this year than we heard about Corbin Burnes last year. But I still don't know if there's actual, full concrete, deals and an actual real shot of us landing him or trading Marte. But I'm curious what your gentlemen's thoughts are. Gabe, what are your thoughts on the possibilities of a trade of Marte / a Alex Bregman signing and keeping him home in the desert?
So the way the question is phrased, I'm very curious if they meant it this way or if they meant it the way you answered it, whether it's asking, either or, but it seems like they're even asking, like, is this going to be like what has been reported, where they trade both of them, or they trade both of them, where they trade Marte and they bring in Bregman? But I guess how the first part is Marte trade. I feel like there's been enough smoke that there's fire somewhere. Like I have my own conspiracy theory about it. So if everybody wants to put on their tinfoil hats on right now and join me for a little conspiracy corner, there's been a lot of talk about the 510 rights for Marte, about that it's supposed to expire, I believe, in March or so. That's when he would be completely unavailable to be on the trade market at that point. He would retain full no trade rights as of right now. I believe he has 5 teams, right? Am I wrong about how many teams he can get traded to?
Yeah,
5 teams on his
Yankees,
note.
Athletics,
Yeah,
White Sox, I think.
yeah, I think Phillies or something like that. There's like 5 teams on his no trade list. If the D-backs sign it before that, then that means they can send him to literally anywhere that they want. They have basically full custody of Marte. After that, he will have more say. So they won't be able to trade him. But I think the reason why they want to trade Marte, one part is because of that. But at the end of the day, Ken Kendrick is the majority owner, but he's not the sole owner of the Diamondbacks. There's a lot more partners and owners in this conglomerate, I guess. And like what we've seen with the Padres, with the Sider family, or even with the Orioles, when teams go, when the owner either passes away, and Ken Kendrick isn't that young, or you might want to sell the team, or he passes away before that. Who knows if his kids or his family's can take over the team? So those owners might be thinking 10 years ahead, 10, 15 years ahead, when Marte is no longer with this team, but he's making $40 million in the next 10 years after he retires, at least from the Diamondbacks. Like, they're going to owe him a lot of money after he leaves his team. So that means that the value of the franchise is also going to be a lot lower, because an incoming ownership group, they're going to want every single player that's on those deferrals to be either traded away or to have those contracts gone, because nobody's trading. Like, look at the Orioles, the family that bought them. They waited until the Chris Davis contract expired, and that's what most people do. Is just most incoming ownership groups. That's what they do. They just wait until those final contracts expire, because you don't want to buy a team and then you already have $150 million worth of payroll that is dedicated to guys who are no longer on the team. Obviously, if you're the Red Sox, the Dodgers, or even the Blue Jays, like these teams with money, they're not going anywhere. But all these other teams and all these middle to lower level teams, they do have to think about, selling the team at some point. And I don't think a lot of these ownership groups that might be coming in are going to be willing to, negotiate, for a higher price for the D-backs, if they still have Marte on payroll. They have Corbin Burns on payroll. All these contracts that are high money. So I think that's the reason why they want to trade him. The fact that that they've been trying to trade him. At this point, I think 20%. It's so late in the year already. We're about a month and a half away, less than a month and a half away from pitchers and catchers reporting. So I don't see them truly doing anything on that side. With Bregman, I can see it's probably like a 50-50 shot at this point. The Red Sox are supposedly really aggressive. There's I think one of the Spanish broadcasters put out a number out there that supposedly the Red Sox offered him, and it seems to be over $30 million a year. The D-backs willing to go that high. Is Bregman willing to take a hometown discount? Corbin Burns took a hometown discount, but he's still making over $30 million a year. So it's not like, we got him for $20 million or something. So Marte trade, I think at this point, is about 10%. But like you said, it's going to change tomorrow, and they're going to trade him, and then we're going to look like idiots. But I think the Marte trade is on the lower end, and Bregman, I do think this team still has a shot to sign him.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that it's just one of those where we're gonna have to kind of see what happens in general. I think we'll be surprised either way. But even like Kyle bringing up the chat here, keeps saying all these kinds of excuses why Bregman signing can't happen without a Marte trade. I've yet to see a compelling reason why. And we can definitely dive in on to that after we get some of Brandon's thoughts. And then Kyle also went to say, people just keep saying that in order for Bregman to be signed, we need to trade Marte. So matter of factly, but everyone who says that refuses to properly elaborate on why. I think some of it is still on the whole like, we need to have the positive role models for my team, and the like somebody that the young kids can look up to. And it's like, I'm sorry, like I get if it was a player like Alec Thomas or maybe like a Jordan Lawler, like maybe Gabriel Moreno, but a guy like Ketel Marte, the superstar he is, like I think he gets a little bit of a leeway. So I think people just view him for some reason as a clubhouse cancer when he really isn't. So I think they just want to get rid of him, and then they're like, well, then that means we got to make a big splash. It's like we could just keep both. Like the lineup gets really weak without Marte. Like yeah, you could swap Bregman for Marte, but the lineup is still pretty weak when you get down after Marte. But I mean, and even like here's Johnny saying leadership, but like it's not like he's multiple players have come out and said he's a great teammate and a great leader as well. Some of the young guys as well. So I don't think that leadership is an issue in any way, shape, or form. But Brandon, on regards of the odds of either a Marte trade, a Bregman signing, or potentially both, what do you think the odds are placed at here for the D-backs? Now that we're especially Mike Hazen had some comments lately about the Marte saga definitely coming to an end here soon in regards to the discussion on like trades and all that.
I just need him to make a decision. I don't know. Maybe he has already decided that he's done trying to make that trade. Like maybe he's just like Boston, because I think Boston's the only legitimate contender for that trade. I think anyone else is just there's not enough to get a return back because what they want is top of the rotation starting pitching. They don't want some guys that are going to be 4 and 5s because we have a bunch of 4 and 5s. That's what our entire rotation is right now. Kelly, I think, is a 2 to a 3.
I think Ryan can be a 3, but definitely not. There's no like clear cut ace.
Yeah, like we don't have one. And so I think that's what he was trying to get. He was trying to get an ace, and that's what he saw maybe Boston had. So I currently have the trade at like 25%, that it still could happen. I don't want it to, because I said on this podcast, if they trade Marte, I'm done with the podcast. I also have season tickets. I pretty much have already paid for my season tickets, so there's nothing I can do about that. I would probably sell it to every game. I'm like, who wants them? Come and get them. So, yeah. And yeah, it's been brought up to like Gambo, like, why can't we do both? He's never really stated why, but I think it's pretty much they just can't afford it. They cannot afford the Marte salary and Bregman. And the reason Bregman hasn't signed is he wants that he wants more years, not necessarily money. So I think Boston's offering him more money, but only on a 5-year deal, while the rumor is the Diamondbacks offered him a 6-year deal. So, and personally, what I would, to make that work, I think it's 6 years, 180, and if they can defer like 30 million, like 30 to 50 million of that, I think that could get it done. And I think having a player like Bregman would help out Jordan Lawler likes a lot. Because I think that's the one thing, like he needs someone to like see how it is to be a major leaguer. And I don't think there's currently someone on the roster right now that can provide that. Like,
at least at the third base position.
Yeah. And Lawler was playing center field in Winter League. And I think that's a better spot for him, personally. I think with how athletic he is, I think center field he would do amazing. And right now, center field, it's not great. Like, our prospects for center field, Al with Thomas and McCarthy, I don't feel great about it. I don't know about you guys, but Alec didn't have a great year defensively. His bat was okay. We don't need to talk about Jake's bat last year because that was a joke.
What bat?
Yeah,
there was no bat.
It was not there. Like,
he personified the SB Nation video of what if Barry Bonds played an entire season without a bat. He basically was like, "What if I do that?"
Yeah. Like, would I love for them to keep Marte and sign Alex Bregman? Yes, because the top 4 of that lineup would be disgusting. That like you'd have Perdomo, Marte, Carroll, and Bregman, and then adding Gabby, who looks like he's been working out some. He was wearing a Kobe Bryant jersey, Laker jersey.
As long as he stays out of Colorado, it's fine.
I don't know how I quite felt about that, but I think Gabby just needs to be able to play. Like, we know how good Gabby is when he plays. It's just being able to see the field. So I think at this point, I don't think they're trading Marte. I I think at this point, if they were, they would have already. And that's what's so frustrating is Hazen's been so focused on this Marte trade.
You've missed on a
Everything
lot of
else,
names.
we missed out on so much. Like they truly are gonna, as Gabe has made a tweet about, like they're just gonna run it back with what we have. Which can it get worse than what we had last year? Like I'm just saying, like maybe a couple of them have bounce backs, or maybe some of these young guys that we got, maybe they pitch well. Maybe Dre has a really solid bounce back. I'm really high on Brandon Garcia. Like, I don't know if it can get any worse than what the bullpen was last year. Like, I think it was like 40
Knock
blown.
on any bit of what you have. Don't jinx it with the D-backs. Hazen's never had a good bullpen. It can always be worse.
I don't
We can
know
bring
how
Woodford
it can
back.
get worse.
We can bring Woodford back, and he can be our main seventh inning guy again. Yeah,
Yeah.
for an entire year, not just for 2 months.
Yeah, I'm just really disappointed that he was so focused on Marte that he completely forgot about everything else.
Yeah, we definitely have missed out on a lot of, especially in the reliever market. I feel like that market has dried up a lot faster.
There's still a couple guys out there like Sir Anthony Dominguez. I wouldn't hate. Like
I don't think Colome has been signed yet.
I don't think so either.
So like, I do agree. There are some names out there, but it's definitely one of those where, with how many teams do need bullpen help. That's why the teams that are, me and Gabe say it all the time. Sometimes it's better be proactive than reactive. Be ahead of those teams. That's why a lot of those teams where, maybe you could look at it because I still think the Devin Williams contract was a pretty good deal for the Mets. Like I don't think they really like paid him like that much money. Like obviously, he's still getting paid a lot, and like that would have eaten up the rest of the free agent money the D-backs had. So we'd definitely be out on Bregman. But I still think that, I would be okay with keeping the team we have, using that money towards a bullpen arm, like we talked about even a couple weeks ago, going after a guy like Devin Williams, or at this point, like Brandon said, Sir Anthony Dominguez, get somebody else in the bullpen. But I think that the Marte thing has been lingering over them, has been taking up too much real estate in his mind. As to why why they can't really focus on, and even Hazen has said it as well, is like they're going to put this thing to an end soon so they can focus on the rest of the offseason because there's more important things. It's not like basketball. First base, third base,
left
DH,
field, center field. Like we have so many holes.
and even because I guess going back to when we're talking about Kyle saying that there's no really clear cut reason why we can't have both. Even Jeff brings up saying the Y is clearing $16 million owed to Cattell in 26 and be able to afford the $30+ million per season of Bregman. And again, Bregman's a really solid player. I don't think he's better than Cattell Marte, so I don't know why we would.
In the last few years, he's been worth less WAR as well, and if you look at it, he is aging worse than Marte is. The main thing with Bregman, he just doesn't strike out and he walks a lot, so it's almost like a 1-for-1 in that sense. So he still has an eye for it, but he doesn't make hard contact. He has one of the slowest swings in the league. I believe they broke it down on Snake's territory about like hard contact. He had only like 114 mile per hour ball hit or something like that, and Marte just averages basically 114 miles an hour when he makes contact with the baseball. So with Bregman, it's like how many homers is going to hit? Like he was playing in small
18
stadium,
to 20 probably.
and Marte can almost hit 40 last year with having a shortened season. So it's just one of those things where you're kind of like, well, what do you value here? Is it is it the money, or is it like I mentioned earlier? It's just that they don't want to have 10 years and $40 million worth of money, quote unquote dead money they're gonna have to pay off at that point. Like, is that what they're looking towards? Is that why they want to trade Marte? Because this whole thing about him being a bad teammate, and I think someone asked as well, or Kyle Dannon also mentioned, like, why does he need to be a leader? It's something I talked about before that Tori has mentioned, that when Goldie was traded, he looked to Cattell to be the leader, and Cattell didn't want to. It's not because he's a bad team or anything, but just that's not his vibe and has never been his vibe. He's always been a lot more laid back, a lot more quiet. Like, it's just kind of the way he is. Like, this team had other leaders at the time. They had guys like Peralta, or even, he's he who should not be named nowadays, but Nick Ahmed as well. Like, they had these vocal leaders. Same with Evan Longoria. Like, they had vocal leaders on this team that could take that that mantle. And as of right now, maybe seems to be Perdomo and stuff like that. But again, he doesn't need to be a leader. He's the best player in the team. There's nothing in his contract that says you have to be the leader of this team. Like, he can be a quiet leader, can come in, do his job, put his play on the field. Like, nobody said anything bad about Goldie being a quiet leader. So why do they say it about Cattell? Why is it a problem with him?
Yeah, and we already have Perdomo. Like, it's basically known that he is the, we don't have a captain. Like, the Yankees have a, set captain and all that. But, like, if there was a D-backs captain, it'd be Perdomo. I know he's younger than Cattell. I know he hasn't been with the team as long as Cattell. But like Gabe said, he's definitely the leader-esque kind of player he is. Whereas, like, Cattell, like, Gabe said, is more of a laid-back guy. It's where, again, there's been reports where it's some no-name player, or not, it's unnamed player that's, I think we all have an inkling, is probably Josh Naylor. But I think that I think that honestly, he doesn't need to be, that vocal leader, the guy that's going to step up and, be the rallying cry, like to put up his old Ervin speech of like, we ride forward to death kind of hoorah energy. But other young guys have said like he's been a great mentor, a great leader, to where I just, those are obviously don't get reported, but of course the one unnamed unanimous player gets reported. But and then Jeff also had another comment, kind of in regards to Brandon, saying that the only team that we could really have a trade with is the Red Sox. The Marlins, I mean, I could see the Marlins. Obviously, I know they got a pretty young, solid squad. The Mariners, especially, because even Brandon said the D-backs want, top of the line starting pitching, and I'm so tired of the whole, well, we can get Connerly early and Peyton Tolley, brother. They're unproven names. None of them are guaranteed to be top of the line guys, especially when Tolley, everyone's like, oh, we'll put him into the bullpen. He'd be great in the bullpen. Dude, like, why are we going to trade a superstar for the unknown and the unproven? Release the Mariners, we can get a guy like Logan Gilbert or maybe George Kirby, and that'd be a little more comfortable with. The Mariners have better pitching, but at the same time, the Mariners have said that they're not really ready to get rid of any, pitchers from the rotation. Like, they're still a contending team. Like, they were literally one game away from going to the World Series. They don't want to just dismantle the rotation. So I don't think that, I think that Hazen is just best to, put this to rest, keep the team he has, maybe pass on Bregman, because, again, Bregman would be nice, but, again, I don't know. I think you could use the money elsewhere and still improve the team and have the team. I mean, again, the team with a bunch of the injuries to the rotation, the bullpen being as bad as it was. If you improve a little bit things here and there, they still won 80 games last year with how banged up they were. I know, obviously, they had that rough stretch around the trade deadline, and that's the reason why they ended up selling. But I still think there's a possibility where they don't need to make any big splash, really, like, tamper with the roster too much. Just, a couple patches here and there that could be within the budget, and I think that it'd go a long way into, making them a more competitive team where, yeah, maybe not like outright a World Series competitor and like, oh, they're the favorite, but at least a playoff contending team where they can make some noise. And we have a question kind of in regards to like what they could do in regards to playoff question here, or playoff contention as our third question here in a minute. So we'll save it more for that. But yeah, I don't think that a trade from Marte, I kind of would like to be in the same realm as Brandon, say it's in the 25% range, but I still think that realistically, at this point, everything I'm just saying 50-50 because I'm not speaking anything in the universe. I don't need to keep knocking on every little bit of wood, because again, I don't need to go through the Goldie trade again, but I think we're all mentally prepared where if it does happen, like, I don't know about you guys. Anytime I see somebody in our Discord or any other Discord and I see like a link from anybody, I always click on. I'm like, is this the Marte trade? Is this the Marte news?
Is this
it? Is this the the hammer finally dropping? But I think that that'll be one of those where we don't really. Hopefully within the next week or two, especially now that we're into the new year, I would love within the next week or two we get official word on whether or not this Marte thing is just gonna be dead in the water, or if they're just gonna actually make it happen. But
I swear, if he doesn't come out and say it, or like if they sign Bregman, to me it's gonna be like, oh, here comes the Marte trade, because I personally don't think they're doing both.
Yeah, I mean, like Jeff said, you're paying $4 more million, but most of the salary could be from Marte go to Bregman. But I still think that I take the switch hitting shortstop. Or switch hitting second baseman at a prime position, who's like far and away the best player at that position in the entire sport, who's still on a very I know the $40 million or whatever deferred money or whatever they're going to be paying. Bregman doesn't have there's not going to be a lot of Bregman jerseys. How many Ketel Marte? I mean, I already bought a Ketel Marte jersey last year.
I have like 3. So
Exactly. Like Ketel Marte is already still one of the fan favorites. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna make your money back in just the fans coming to the ballpark to watch him play. Where if you trade him away, cool. Like
Yeah.
what we underperform and then we trade Bregman in a year or two anyway. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
and that's the thing. That's the thing with me is like, if the Diamondbacks get Bregman, I'm going to be excited, unless they trade Marte as well. Then that's when I would have a problem with it. Like, I made a tweet about being frustrated about this whole Bregman situation. Like, specifically concerning trading Marte to make it happen. And there's some people in there who I guess didn't understand the tweet or were like angry for some reason. But they said like, "Oh, well, you better not be cheering for him if he has a 4 WAR." I'm like, Cattell could do that in his sleep. That's my point. It's just that
That's like an
I
off
don't.
year for Cattell.
Yeah, it's like that's what I don't want is for that to happen. If Bregman comes here and they keep Marte, then I want to be really excited. I'm going to be happy about that. But if they trade Marte and then keep Bregman, that's when I have a problem because you're trading away an objectively better player because you supposedly don't want to pay him to get a guy who is regressing, who is still very good, but he's not elite. Ketel Marte is elite, and he is, like you said, he is the best second baseman in the league. Bregman is top 10 third baseman in the league, but he's not the best second baseman
he's not a superstar at his
in all
position.
of baseball. Yeah, so, and Ketel Marte, keeps it up at the pace that he's been, he could be, a Hall of Famer in a few years if this keeps up. And Bregman, I know he has a cheating scandal, but as good as he's been with how lacking he's been in recent years, I don't think he's gonna be in the Hall of Very Good when all is said and done.
100%. Yeah. So I again, in the long run, Bregman is a great player. He does fill a positional need, but with all the people that are critical of Jordan Lawler, it seems like they're like, oh, just throw him at second base, trade Cattell. It's like I don't know, man. I still think that just there's other ways, like we've already discussed tonight. There's other ways you can go about it and constructing the roster without trading away who is about to be, top three, if not top two player in D-back history. Like he's close to breaking and being up there in the, he's passing Gonzo soon in a lot of categories. He's going to be up there with Goldie, where outside of Randy Johnson, he's going to be one of the best position players we've ever seen put on a Diamondbacks uniform, and will most likely be in the D-backs Hall of Fame when his career is all said and done. And I'd rather see him, be like stay a D-back for the rest of his career personally. But moving on to our second question here we had. Again, by the way, guys, make sure you guys join the Discord. Like I said, this is where we're getting our mailbag questions for the day, so we'd love to have you guys join the Discord. Let us know your thoughts, too, for the next mailbag episode we do, because we're going to try to do these a little bit more frequently and whatnot, just because we like to get the community involved, and we like to see your guys' opinions, because that's the beautiful thing about sports is not everyone's going to have the same opinion. There's always going to be different opinions, different things that we might not have thought of, different questions that, we might have thought about, too. And this next one is definitely one of those that I thought was a little bit more of a fun one. So Airchain in our Discord, which I believe is Kyle, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might have changed his name, but either way. Said if you could choose only one player from across MLB to add to this team in order to make them a World Series contender, who would it be? They want to say no drawbacks, no salary, no trades, even if they are under contract on any team right now. Just who do you think is impactful enough to our situation right now to help us go all the way? So obviously I think, if we're playing forced trades and all that. Obviously, it is Kyle. Perfect. Obviously, the easy answers of like the Otanis and the Judges, even like the Sotos and all that. Like, obviously, you go there. I think for me personally, it would, and maybe this is even another easy one. Like, Tarek Skubal or Paul Skeens, like two of the best pitchers in the entire sport. Like we discussed even in the first part of that question there, Brandon was saying that we don't really have like an ace on the team. We have like, a couple like 2 or 3s and then the rest are like 4 and 5s. You get that ace right there. Get Paul. I'd rather take Paul Skeens because he's younger. I know Tarek Skubal, he's still the best lefty in the entire game. Crochet not too far behind him, but he's a little bit older. He hasn't, I know Skeens and Skubal have basically had the same dominant 2 years, but I still think Skeens has a little bit more of a higher upside. So I'd personally take Skeens, and if not Skeens, I think a fun one personally would be maybe, I know he's a Dodger, Freddie Freeman. Like solves the first base issue. We don't have to fucking
He
face
loves
him.
hitting here.
He loves hitting and chase the field. We wouldn't have to deal with him destroying us every now and then. We just have to get used to seeing his shiny white veneers every single time he's in an interview. But yeah, say I know that it wasn't in the question, but if it was like maybe an offensive player and then somebody else that's like not an offensive player, I would definitely go either Skeens or Freddie. And plus, like I don't really hate Freddie Freeman. I don't really hate any Dodger. I just don't like their fan base. Like it's kind of like the problem with the Yankees for so many years. Where I don't hate any Yankee player. I just don't like the fan base as much, and it makes me want the team to fail. But yeah, I'd go either Paul Skeens or Freddie Freeman because again, both those kind of fill some big holes. And would I think instantly make this team a lot better, obviously. But that's obviously if we could go on MLB the Show and turn on forced trades and all that. But I did like that question from Kyle. So great question from Kyle there. But want to pass it on to you, Gabe. Same, kind of like what Kyle said, without any salary, no drawbacks, we don't have to make any trades. If you could just wave a magic wand, poof, this player is now an Arizona Diamondback. Who would it be? And you can even do the same thing, maybe like an offensive player and then maybe a non-offensive player. Maybe it's like a starting pitcher, bullpen pitcher. Who would your picks be to instantly make this team a little bit better?
Unfortunately, I have a very boring answer, and it is Shohei Ohtani because he solves two issues, which is the DH problem and the starting pitching problem that we have. Right now, as great as Merrill Kelly is, he is the number one starter on his team. Well, that depends, I guess. Maybe in spring they might. Well, I guess they would give it to him just out of respect over Ryan Nelson. But could you imagine? Yeah, could you imagine this starting staff of Corbin Burns, Shohei Ohtani, Ryan Nelson, and Merrill Kelly, top four, and then you can throw in the errata, consolation in there. But Soroka had success with the Cubs, right? It was the Cubs, where he pitched in relief, so you could just slot him down, have him relieve. So you solve another issue there, which is a better reliever, longer reliever, and then the guy hits 50 bombs in his sleep. Something right now the team is going to be lacking is home runs. Right now they're missing about how much was that? 80 home runs. 80 home runs right now.
40 from Gino, 20 from Naylor,
and Gurriel, another
Gurriel, around like 15 to 20. Yeah, okay. So 80 makes sense.
So it's anywhere from 80 to 90 home runs that they're missing, and Shohei can hit half of those by himself. So he unfortunately would solve a lot of issues on this team. So I feel like if the Diamondbacks would have done the same deal that LA did, they probably would be winning back-to-back championships as well. But fortunately, it didn't work out that way. But again, Shohei, when he's healthy, he is one of the better starters in the league. I mean, this is, we're talking about Tariq School and Skeens. He's not either one of them, but he's awfully close to both of them when he's healthy. And he's also, Aaron Judge when he's healthy. So it's unfortunately, like I said, it's a boring answer, but it's him. And I guess if you want a more fun answer, maybe Chapman. Chapman's a terrible person, but if he was on this team last year, they would have made they would have made the playoffs last year, even with the terrible bullpen. Because how many blown saves were there last year? There was
40
something,
something, I think, 40 or 45.
Yeah, and
that's why
I
don't
he's he's a workhorse. Yeah, and Chapman is a workhorse. I mean, obviously it depends on how Torrey wants to manage him, but Chapman is a workhorse. You can literally throw him out there for 162 games, and he'll want to pitch in 162 games.
With our luck, it'd be like Bronson Arroyo, though. Bronson Arroyo, when we signed him, it was very well known. Like, we needed the pitching, and they're like, man, this guy's a workhorse. He's never been injured. He's been on the opening day roster and gone through the entire season, his entire career. First season in a Diamondbacks uniform, Tommy John. Aroldis Chapman has never had an arm injury. I think the only time he's ever gone on the IL or the IL was because of a tattoo infection. I think on his chest he got infected tattoo, and that's the only time he's missed time. He's never had an arm issue. With our luck, in the first outing of spring training, his elbow just absolutely explodes. It's like that. I don't know if you guys. I used to watch a bunch of videos on YouTube where it's like, the most brutal injuries in sports, and it was that pitcher for the Rays, that lefty, where he was. Back when they're still the Devil Rays, in the middle of him throwing a curveball, you could hear in the broadcast his arm snap. It wasn't like his elbow exploded, his arm broke, just full on, just broken two. That'd be the kind of luck we have where his first spring training outing, he just borderline dies. And we're like, cool, sweet, we're absolutely cursed. But yes, I don't think I think the real answer here obviously is Ohtani. I mean, I say that at work all the time. He's the greatest player the sport will ever see. He's gonna win every MVP has won has been unanimous. Yeah, he might not be as nasty as Skeens and Scooble, but it's not like he's mid. It's not like he's only a 4 inning kind of sucks. Like the dude's still a freak of nature, and I think that anybody would instantly choose him. But yeah, it's always fun to go with the fun answer. So, Brandon, passing it on to you. Are you also going to do you agree with Gabe that it's definitely the best option with the Otani? You fill the DH hole and you fill the starting pitching role, or are you going to kind of go the route where maybe a little bit more fun answer? Which again, Skeens is not. It's like this is a random person. I like the Chapman one. That one's honestly that one I didn't really think of. But who would you pick? Whether it's offensive, on the pitching side, maybe one of each.
It's Paul Skeens for me. Can you imagine him on an offense that scores 6 to 7 runs a game? Like, can you imagine? Like it wouldn't be fair. Like he's had his first 2 years of his career have been literally one of the best for a starting pitcher.
Generational.
Like he is simply amazing. And what they've been kicking the tires on a lot of players. Like they've been active this offseason more than the Diamondbacks have. So they're like, yeah, we need to make sure that we can't lose this kid. We cannot lose a generational pitcher. Like I know, like going Paul Skeens or like Gabe said, Shohei Ohtani is the boring answer. But is there another answer? Like there's really not. Like there's a reason why every fan wants these guys on their team. It's because they are just that good. Like Shohei's gonna win MVP every year that he plays a majority of the season. If he plays 120 games, I think he wins MVP every year.
Yeah.
Like if he plays
unless
like
he falls off a
100
cliff.
Yeah, which I don't see that happening.
No.
Like he had literally the best playoff performance we've ever seen there. In was that the NLCS or the World Series where he hit?
It was in the NLCS against the Brewers when he just put his dick on the table and said, "Here, Brewers, I present it."
Like he had 3 homers, like 6 shutout. Like you can't ask for anything better. Like that was like if he, like I said, any other team, I'd be a fan of this guy. I just can't. I just can't be supportive of someone on the Dodgers. I just can't. I just can't do it. So that's why I went with Paul Skeens.
I'll give some pushback with Paul Skeens with something you said, which is that a team that scores 6 runs, how many more games is going to win? Ryan Nelson had like a 2.5 ERA in like a 10-game stretch where he had 0 decisions, or was it he had no decisions for like 9 games in a row where he had like a 2.4 ERA or something. So they could just be the exact same thing with him and just absolutely hate Paul Skeens the way they hate Ryan Nelson.
That's true.
Yeah, but dude, oh man. Plus bonus, Livy Dunn just gets to go to all the Dbacks games.
I didn't want to pull that one. I was like, but we also get Livy Dunn, you guys. Like, are we really gonna be? Like, is that such a bad thing?
Yeah, no. So I mean, Skeens on the field, the generational name or generational player, like has done things in his career that we haven't seen since the early 1900s. Like Skubal hasn't done it. Kershaw, Verlander, Koufax, Randy, Pedro, Roger Clemens, literally any player you can name in the last 100 years or so haven't done some of the things he's done. And I mean, it would suck because we'd only get him for 3-4 years before he inevitably goes to free agency and gets his $500 million contract that he's bound to get from probably the Dodgers or the Yankees. But yeah, say if I could just wave a magic wand, maybe part of the deal I go bibbity bobbity, here's $100 billion. Here's just $1 billion. Here's $1 billion. Please don't leave the Diamondbacks ever. But yeah, say definitely a fun one, and I like hypotheticals like that. Maybe we'll have to do like an MLB The Show, and do like forced trades and just see what we can do. Or even turn off forced trades and see what how much of the farm we'd have to give up just to get a guy like Paul Skeens. But yeah, say definitely a few holes. I feel like you can go with pretty much any player. But if you guys have a different player, whether it's maybe you agree with us, maybe you'd also choose Ohtani or Skeens, maybe you like Gabe's pick of Chapman. Let us know in the YouTube comments, or also again join the Discord. Let us know your thoughts there. Let us know if there's a player that we didn't mention, player that maybe is a little bit more of an under the radar sneaky player. Like hey, Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is another pretty solid pick that you could go with at third base. Switch hitter, on a really team friendly contract. Future Hall of Famer at the rate his career is going. Like he's another name that didn't even think about until now. So maybe there's another player like that you guys think of that you think would slot into this team really well. That's more of a fun pick. Let us know, obviously, in the YouTube comment section, or again over in our Discord, which should be in the description. And again, it's absolutely free to join there. But moving on to our third and final mailbag question here we had from our Discord. It's a little bit of a multi question here from Johnny D. That we can have a few different ways we can go about it. But they're a little bit more, I guess, a little more skeptical on, how we were talking about earlier about keeping Bregman or keeping Marte, and you can make this team competitive. They're a little bit more skeptical on the possibilities of all that. He goes on to ask us, says, how do we get second place in our division without trading Marte? Tell him 10 million left to spend in free agency with the current starting rotation as is now and keeping the farm system intact. How does this team make it to the playoffs? Then went on to say trades might be hard to figure out because we really don't know who will accept or decline which players and offers. So I guess for me, for the first part on like how do we get second in our division, I don't think we necessarily need to get second in our division. There's been a couple years where I think even 2 years ago, where we had 3 years ago actually when the Dodgers, Padres, and no Padres missed out on it. But there's a couple teams every now and then where three teams in the same division will make the playoffs. So I don't think you necessarily need to win second or get second place in a division to guarantee yourself a playoff spot. Obviously, it would definitely help a little bit more. You don't have to worry about waiting for the final week to kind of fight for that spot. But I don't think you necessarily need to get into second place. Obviously, it would help a little bit more. The money there, obviously, with only 10 million left to spend in free agency. I know there's always a hard cap, even like Gabe said earlier. Ken Kendrick isn't the only owner. It's an ownership group. He's just like the face of it. But I think that there is a possibility where they can still, maybe 10 is it's kind of like when you go to buy a card. You're like, oh yeah, the highest I want to go on here is like $70, and someone's like, well yeah, but what about like 90? And you're like, they're like, what about like 110? You're like, okay, I can go to like 85, 90. And then you meet in the middle at 100. We're like, yeah, you might have your low on, this is the most I want to spend. But then if an opportunity presents itself and you're like, well, I mean, we could make the team a little bit better. Yeah, we spend a little bit more, but does it keep the fans coming to the ballpark? Does it keep us not having a bottom 10 attendance? Might be worth spending that little bit of an extra money there. And also, I think with the keeping the rotation and as it is in the farm system intact, I think the farm would be the one we have to dip into a little bit. I know there's been talks about maybe not all of our prospects being as highly sought after. And trust me, I'm a big prospect guy. I love looking at the future, but sometimes it's one of those where in baseball especially, you're gonna see a lot of these guys, 3, 4, 5 years from now actually getting into the MLB. It's not often you see a guy like Jackson Holliday, even a Juan Soto, where they really like shoot it through the minors and make it to the major leagues at such a young age with very little seasoning in the minors. A lot of times you're gonna see a couple more years in the minors to really develop. So I wouldn't necessarily hate them as long as it's not trading away a guy like Waldschmidt, or even maybe. God, why am I forgetting the Corbin Carroll copy that we got? I'm
Slade Caldwell.
Yeah, Caldwell. Thank you. As long as we don't trade away Waldschmidt or like Caldwell, like I'd be, okay, like maybe moving on with Troy, especially if we keep Marte here. We don't really have a spot for Troy unless, and especially if Jordan Lawler ends up figuring out at third base, like Troy would be kind of blocked. Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. I don't want Waldy.
Also, with the Tommy Troy, something to consider is that he turns 25 in a couple weeks, I believe, too. So
it's not like a lot of our prospects where we draft them out of high school and they're really young. He was one of the few guys where we drafted out of college, and I think he was a senior in college.
Yeah, so at this point, with someone like Tommy Troy, might be time to move on from him, just because of his age. But yeah, I guess when it comes to this question, the answer is health and performance. It's kind of all it is, because I mean, if Corbin Burns comes back, J Mart, Gurriel, Puck, like this team has so many guys on the injured list who are elite or borderline elite, and if they all come back healthy and they all come back, performing well, I think that's kind of the issue here. It's like, because we don't know how good Corbin Burns or J Mart or Puck are going to be, just because pitching is so much trickier than anything else there is. So this could be just complete loss here for all these guys, but I think that's kind of the short answer, but I think that's it. It's just everyone needs to be healthy, and guys need to perform at the level that they're supposed to be at. I know, Alec needs to be a Gold Glove level type of player. He needs to be at about 750 OPS, like what he projected from the minor leagues. Corbin Carroll needs to have another MVP type year. Perdomo, another MVP type year. Gabby needs to play almost every single day like he had been. Someone we've been forgetting about is ADC. ADC is supposed to be back healthy this season. He had no time in the minor leagues last season just because they needed him so bad. But him being healthy, he's a guy who can hit 30 home runs and hit for average as well. So you have a lot of potential. Same with the guys in the bullpen. The gambling man is, I know his expected ERA was like 10 points higher. Like he wasn't a guy who had like a expected ERA of 4. Like he had like a low 2 or even like a high 1 ERA, expected ERA. So they're like you said Dre Jameson as well. What is he going to be? Is he going to be as elite as most people think he's going to be or should be? Just he's been injured. There's just a lot of question marks around these guys, but I do think if everybody performs at the level they should, this team can be a number 2 team, especially with the Giants aren't going to be much better this year. The Padres are just going to keep regressing. So this team is poised to be the second place team if everyone performs at to their level.
Yes, I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head there. If we can just stay healthy and if everyone can just not have career worst seasons, even if Jake McCarthy can just be not a like a 160 hitter for a majority of the season, if we could just get a little bit more average performance, I think this team can play a lot better. I think we're going to see, like you said about Perdomo being an MVP, I think we're seeing a little bit of regression from him. I don't think we're going to see the exact same numbers. But I don't think we're going to go back to seeing, Perdomo from 22 or even 2023 where he's, solid player, but not really much pop, hits 4 or 5 home runs in a season. So I think we're going to see, again, a little bit of regression from him. But I would take the, as Johnny said, that's a whole lot of ifs there. I would take the whole lot of ifs over, again, trading away a superstar, having to worry about, because again, you're still going to have some big question marks, like just trading Ketel Marte, like I said before, does not guarantee, it doesn't fix your bullpen and your starting rotation problems. There's still a whole lot of question marks. I'd rather take, the question marks we already have versus downgrading the lineup and then taking on different question marks in different areas, and, preparing ourselves for, because I think it's going to be one of those where we're going to see kind of like a 2023 D-backs where coming off the World Series appearance, the expectations were really high. There's a lot of, like Tori said, the target on their back. A lot of us were expecting going back to playoffs. This last year with the team that we saw, obviously same thing, expecting to get back to the playoffs, didn't get there. I think this year, I think they play a lot better when they don't have those expectations, when they're kind of counted out, when they're the underdogs. So I think having that kind of underdog mentality going into this year of like, oh, nobody is, expecting us to do anything. They're expecting us to be a sub 75 win team. I think we're going to go and, show them that this is still a really good ball club, the way it's, built currently. But again, if we can just avoid any freak injuries, like even Johnny was saying earlier, Gabby needs to play more than 90 games a season. He would have if it wasn't for the the rain game. Like that was, I know he's had some injury issues the last couple years, especially on like the lower body, like the groin and all that. But this last year, I don't think it's fully on him. It's not like he did anything wrong. It was just a fluke game that the MLB should have postponed in the first place and avoided multiple guys getting hurt like him and Mena. But I'd rather take the betting on, to pull a card from our boy Andrew Sofrank, I'd rather take betting on the team that we currently have versus, potential just swapping question marks with more question marks. But again, there's definitely some work that still needs to be done. I'm not saying that the team in the state that it is right now is going to be a full playoff contender. I just think that there is, the blueprints are there, the structure is there to be a solid team, and I think just a few minor tweaks here and there. Again, just get Moneyball on it. I know. Fun little side tangent. It's not like we have a Miguel Tejada or Bearzito that they refused to bring up in the Moneyball movie because they act like they were the this garbage team. They had literally the MVP on the squad. So we just need to Moneyball it. Figure out a way to patch up the areas that we need to without again dismantling the current team and then just swapping more question marks with question marks with more question marks. But Brandon, moving on to you, what are your thoughts on Johnny's question on maybe getting into second place and then kind of the constraints on whether the money left to spend and if we have to dig into the farm system to kind of fix some of these holes or even the rotation that still needs a little bit more oomph to it.
I mean, the money thing that can change. Like, we could have more money to spend. Like, I don't think that's a hard cap. Like, oh, no, we only have $10 million. Like, we can't spend any more than $10 million. I think if you're able to get a couple of extra pieces, like, I really want Goldie. I would love to have Goldie come back, have that farewell tour, have his final season be back in a D-backs uniform. I think that'd be really great. I think that would help alleviate the first base situation a little bit and be a platoon with Pavin and Goldie because Pavin is not a full-time player. Like we've gone over that ad nauseum. He is a solid role player, part-time player, and Goldie destroys left-handed pitching. And Pavin can't hit left-handed pitching. So that works out really great. I just think what they're gonna do is they're gonna ask the current guys that are there just to play the best you can, go maximum effort. Like I think they're really hoping that a lot of these guys have bounce backs. I think they're really hoping Alec Thomas has a bounce back, Jake McCarthy has a bounce back because I think they tried to trade both of them, but they literally have no value, so they just decided to keep them. Bullpen, Yilber Diaz looked really good in the Winter League. I think they decided that you're gonna go in the bullpen. So hopefully he can have a really good year coming out of the bullpen. I think they're really hoping that Dre bounces back because he didn't look very great when he was here. Like he even played in the Arizona Fall League, which I didn't really know that was possible.
He did not play too well there either.
Yeah, he didn't. So that's not great because I think they're really counting on him to be one of those high leverage guys back there, especially with J Mart out and Puck out. So I think J Mart's out for the whole year personally. I don't think he comes back. Puck, maybe we get him by around the time with Corbin Burns because I think he had his Tommy John right around the same time. I'm wondering if they're counting on Blake Wolston potentially. Because
don't put that in.
I don't. It is a lefty. I don't think they're counting on him as for a starter. Maybe they think he can be a solid guy coming out of the bullpen. But again, we still need to address that third base situation and that left field situation. For me, I think those are the two spots that they really need to address as soon as possible.
Yeah, I like how even Johnny in the chat saying, "Please God, no to the Walston." Which, again,
I'm just saying he's one guy that's coming back.
Yeah, but
I think he's still on the.
I'd rather give Geisting a shot. I know he's a little bit younger, a little bit greener, but either him, maybe Cole Drake. There's a couple of the guys I'd rather at least see the shot because again,
there's also Brandon Garcia, and then that other guy that the kid that looks like Ham from the Sandlot. From Seattle. What the hell's his name?
Oh, was it?
He got injured too. Huh?
Oh,
he has long
you
hair.
mean the Hoffman, the guy who got from the Royals?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That really young looking guy. He also got injured, but he was doing pretty well. He has good stuff, and again, he got injured.
Wilson's on the 40 man.
Yeah, say literally anyone else. And in regards to the whole left field thing, honestly, I wouldn't hate the. Obviously, I know he's a little bit younger, but you know, kind of like we were talking about with Tommy Troyev. It's not like we drafted him out of high school. I think Waldschmidt. I mean, with the way he performed last year, I think he should probably get an invite to spring training. And I know it'd be one of those long shots. Even we saw Jordan Lawler just absolutely murder the baseball in spring training one of those years and still get sent down and put back into Reno. I'll probably be the outcome there, but I wouldn't hate if Waldschmidt really
oh my god, he makes the opening day roster. Oh my god. Oh,
who?
That'd be so...
Oh, Waldschmidt? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Waldschmidt, I think him in left field would be electric. It would solve, it'd fit the, Gurriel right-handed outfielder there. Maybe not give us as much pop. Obviously, we wouldn't know if it translates to the MLB level, but, I think that he would be a better option there. And again, that's money that you don't have to spend on a rookie contract. You can use that money elsewhere. Again, it's, even like Johnny said, it is kind of banking on a lot of ifs, a lot of, hoping something happens, fingers crossed something happens.
Ginkel. I think that's another one that they need a major bounce back from. Kevin Ginkel.
Yes, Ginkel. We need 2023 Kevin Ginkel and not last year's Kevin Ginkel, which is weird because I think at least I hope not, but even Kevin Ginkel's 2023 season was kind of an outlier because there was a while there where he was, just looking at his numbers there on Baseball Reference, he had a
24 just because he was injured last year.
Yeah, he had his first year in 2019, 1.4 ERA in 24 innings, so he was really solid there. 2020, I don't count for any season. 2021, he had 28 innings and he had a 6-something ERA, and then 3 straight innings of sub 3.50 ERA, 22, 23, and even 24. I know 24 he got touched up a little bit, but 23 and 24 he still logged 65 plus innings. And I think it's just if he can stay healthy, I think that's his biggest issue. where I think I don't think the 7.36 is the Kevin Ginkel we're gonna see get again. I don't think we're gonna get the 2.48 ERA Kevin Ginkel from 2023. But if we can at least get him around anywhere from the 3 to 3.50, I think that'd be huge with the bullpen. Have Brandon Garcia if he can kind of settle in there. I think it was a lot of one of those where why we saw some of those guys struggle like Hoffman and Garcia is because since we were still kind of in the race there, since they kind of played themselves to still being, in contention, still being for the wild card, I think if it was any other situation where, oh yeah, these guys are in a situation where, it doesn't matter if we make the playoffs, like we're not going to, so just work on development. Where I think a lot of those guys had a little bit more, thrown at them, where it's like, hey, like this is every save and every win is a big save and a big win, and we need you to step up here. So I think some of that pressure might have gotten to them a little bit with Hoffman and Garcia. So I think that if we can get a bounce back from Gink, if we can have those guys kind of get some more of the lower leverage innings and really find their footing at the major league level, I think the bullpen can be a lot better than it was last year. Obviously, we're still missing some firepower, with AJ Puck, even with J Mart. Obviously, he could come back in the season. He could miss the entire season. I'm not sure. I don't know if having your second Tommy John means you recover a little bit faster because you've already went through it once. I'm not sure if it means you take a little bit longer to heal. But I definitely think that there's a chance for a couple of big bounce backs from the team that would definitely go a long way into, making this team, a lot better currently as it is. But again, it's all in that we need the players, like Abe said, to play at the potential that we know they can play at the levels we know they can play at, and not have any more, career worst or down seasons. And yeah, Johnny, I remember last season when everyone was like, "Oh, would you trade Jake McCarthy and maybe another prospect or two to get Ryan Helsley?" And yes, I know Ryan Helsley was not the greatest for the Mets. And then people were like, "Oh no, Jake McCarthy! Why would you trade Jake McCarthy for?" And I'm like, "Brother, I don't think you can trade Jake McCarthy for a Philly cheesesteak or even a fucking."
He needs to be packaged with someone else to get rid of him. That's the problem.
Yeah, like you're not going to get much out of him. And again, he's still great. Again, I hate saying it because I got to meet him at work one time, and he's a great person, super nice dude. He's still he's made it to the major leagues. He's at a level that only 1% of the population or less is even able to play at. So I get it, but I just think that if we could just have not last year's Jake McCarthy. If we can even get look at his let me look at his 2024 numbers. I know he was injured even 2024 a little bit, but if we can get even like 2020 or like late 2023, 2024 Jake McCarthy where he was just murdering lefties, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with having him be, a platoon outfielder. We just can't have the 0 for 24 to start the season Jake McCarthy where you're a genuine you're going up there without a bat. Like we can't have that kind of performance from any players whether in the
over 700 OPS, and I'll be okay with that.
Seriously, give us over 700 OPS, play, good enough defense, don't get thrown out on the bases, because even that was kind of a big issue last year with not just McCarthy, but I felt like a lot of the Dbacks, especially early in the season, they were sloppy on the bases. They weren't Josh Naylor being one of our best stolen base guys was kind of bad. A lot of guys were getting picked off, a lot of guys were just running into stupid outs, where if we could just play Diamondback baseball, play fundamental baseball, and don't have a career worst season, I think this team will really shock a lot of people. And again, whether they win, or get second place in the division or even third, I still think there is a route to being a playoff team. Just in general, the NL obviously it's a tough division in general. I think tougher than the AL, but I think the route is there. Again, it's just it's banking a lot of players that we currently have to perform to the level that we know they can be. But any other thoughts on either any of the questions we had here, whether it's from Landon, Kyle, or even Johnny D? Anything you just want to circle back on before we move on to our final topic here?
No.
All right. Well, obviously, like you said, this is our first show of the new year, our first time seeing you guys since the holidays before Christmas. So every year, new year, new us, all that garbage, all that jazz. Not necessarily a personal one, or I guess if you want to do a personal one, what is let's do personal. Yeah. So what is one New Year's resolution for the Dbacks? If you were if you were the Dbacks, you were my K's and all that, or the team in general, what is a New Year's resolution for the Diamondbacks team itself? And then maybe one for your own personal one. For me, just get back to my routine of working out and eating better. Ever since my son was born, got really lazy with that. So that's my personal one. But if I was the Dbacks one, just less, cut the blown saves in half. Cut the blown leads in half.
Dude,
do that and we're a much better team. But it's a lot to ask for, I know. But Gabe, what about you? What would you be your, even if you don't have a personal one, what would at least be your D-backs New Year's resolution going into 2026?
I guess for personal, I guess would be kind of the same thing as you. Just kind of get back into shape. Like I was in pretty good shape for a few years, and then just just stop working out. So I want to work out, get stronger again. Like I hit 30 this year, so yeah, like I kind of want to be, but 30 is a new 20, so I want to get in the best shape of my life again. I guess with the D-backs, it would be uh, someone to win an MVP, dethrone Shohei in the MVP race, whether it's Cattell, Corbin, or whoever, get that first D-backs MVP.
Yes, honestly, I think it is a little bit of a tall order, obviously. Like even Brand said, if Shohei even plays 120, 130 games, um, I think that it's definitely a little bit of a tougher one. But hey, you know what? It's not out of the question. I think Perdomo was still robbed of getting MVP votes this year. And if we make the playoffs, I think it's a little bit of a closer, maybe not unanimous decision. I think he might still win it, but if we can even get somebody that's finishing in second for the MVP race, I think that'd be huge for this team. Yeah, Brandon, passing it on to you. What would be your either personal and or D-backs New Year's resolution, or at least just your D-backs resolution going into 2026?
So the last, I don't know, say 6 to 8 weeks, I've been walking a lot lately. So I just want to continue to do that. Continue to do my walks. I do about 2 to 3 miles a day.
Nice.
So just continue to slowly do that. I'm not looking to get back to my high school weight, which was 185 yet. That's pretty bold, but just slowly kind of get my weight back down and just continue to stay with my daily walking. Try not to skip a day, because once you skip it, you just like, oh, I like doing that.
Yeah,
And then
you get complacent. Yeah, dude. I used
so
to back when it was a little bit easier, obviously before my son was born. Where like it's obviously, I had a lot more time where I'd get off of work, and my schedule was more normal, where I'd work at most until 5, where I'd have time to. I used because dude, man, I've never been a runner, but got a treadmill, and I've always had asthma. There was a time there where I was able to get my mile down to like 8:30. I was able to run like 4 or 5 miles in a row without stopping. But ever since my son was born, bro, I've been try to get on the treadmill, and I'm like, I jog a mile and I'm like, dude, fucking kill me, like, and end this. So I agree. I think we'll have to try to keep each other accountable, and every day be like, hey, like, you working out, or at least like, only taking one day off before workouts, because obviously we need some rest and all that, especially if you're doing like weightlifting and all that. Like Gabe said, getting a little stronger, but maybe I'll keep each other a little more accountable. But yeah, let us know again your guys' New Year's resolution as well, whether it's for your personal one, or the D-backs one, again, in the YouTube comments below, or again, join the Discord. Again, it's absolutely free. We'd love to have you guys join the community over there and have you in there. Discord's free itself to make one, and then our Discord is free to join. And it'd be fun to, get you guys more involved on some of these mailbag questions, because we want to do more of these throughout, because we'd love to hear you guys' input, get you guys involved in the show throughout more here. Before we got to hear, Kyle also had one more question. He said, I have an actual question for Brett. Real quick, where can I get that hat? It is dope as hell. I think I got this from Just Sports a couple months ago. Not sure if they still have the same one in stock. But I did get it from Just Sports. I didn't see one at Lids before, but I know Just Sports is usually, this is no ad. We are not sponsored by Just Sports at all. This is just in my opinion. That's where I personally get all my hats from. At least that's where I find all the cooler hat designs. They also have one, if you guys go to the one at the Arrowhead Mall, they have one where it's literally just this black hat, but it just says Corbin Carroll. So if you guys want just a Corbin Carroll hat and not like necessarily a D-backs branded one, they have one there. But yeah, so that's where I personally get all my hats at. But so Kyle, I think you can order online. I think the Just Sports has a website. So you can check out the website.
Do you know what brand it is, by any chance? Because usually New Era
I wish
and
it's a
stuff
New
like
Era.
that.
Yeah, New Era 5950.
Yeah, so you can probably get it online at New Era as well.
Yeah,
Some of
there's
them have
also
coupons as well.
there's one that I got my hat that my wife got me for a back in March. I'm trying to remember what it was. I'll double check exactly where I got it from, because there's a specific hat company that I get a lot of my, because I like the A-frame, like this is A-frame. There's one that I get all my hats from. I'll try to remember the link, and then I'll share it in the Discord. So again, if you want that link, make sure you guys join the Discord once again. But any other final thoughts? Obviously, I know that we're finally into, like we said at the beginning of the show, finally past all the holiday and the festivities. Hopefully we should see some news, kind of trickle on through here. And even as Brandon and Gabe alluded to earlier, with our luck, we'll wake up in the morning and there's going to be some big breaking news for the D-backs literally the day after we do our show. But any other, maybe thoughts and all that now that we're officially into 2026 and we are very quickly approaching spring training?
Yeah.
This
So I guess
man,
we're in.
New Year's, same me, same troll that is Cruz.
We're 40 days or so days away from pitchers and catchers reporting at this point. So not a lot of time left. I know whenever we post something about like Bregman or making any other moves, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's not even December yet." We're in January. We're at 40 days, less than a month and a half away from pitchers and catchers reporting. This team has to do something, and hopefully they do it quick. Because again, we've seen what happens when teams wait, especially on starting pitchers. They really struggle because they don't have the same spring training or same time in the weight room as everyone else, or the same time in working with the trainers, the trainers here and the pitching staff. So you're going to get a pitcher, get them sooner than later. Same with any position players as well. Get them into camp, get them training, so you don't struggle. And I guess on another more serious note, I guess is just like the holidays are hard for a lot of people. Just make sure you're checking in on your friends and family, tell them you love them, and reach out if you always need help. If you ever need help, sorry.
Yes, same with us. Again, if you guys are in the Discord or if you have any of our socials, I think our socials are tagged on Twitter. If you guys ever need any, like, if you need to talk to either one of us, like, want to reach out to any of us for any reason, and my DMs are always open. Would love to, again, even just to chat if you're, we all have those days and, those ruts where we're, maybe feeling a little mentally down. So if you guys ever need that, again, great place to be in the Discord, or if you need to reach out to any one of us, I'm sure any one of us would be happy to have you, talk to us and kind of get some things off your chest. So we're always here for that. Again, you guys are here for us. We're always here for you guys. That's why we like to try to build this dispatch community, so we're all one big happy family. Yes, even you, Cruz, our resident Dodgers troll. Which, by the way, I know it's usually fun and games, but congrats to Cruz. Just had the birth of their child the other day. So what was it, last week, I think?
Yeah, he told me what the name is. I still don't believe it, and I told him
Yeah.
I'm not gonna believe it until I see a birth certificate. He's like, "Oh, it's coming in next week." I'm like, "Well, then you better show me, because I still don't believe you did this."
I honestly, I fully believe it. I mean, after what the dude did in the World Series, I 100% believe that the middle name would be Yoshinobu. Like, it tracks. It fully tracks. But Brandon, any final thoughts? Obviously, I know even for me, like, I'm still surprised Zach Gallen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some news on Zach Gallen in the next couple days, if not week or so, because I feel like even he wants to get this out of the way. Like Gabe said, I think he's definitely more of an a routine guy where he's like, I don't want to wait until February, a week before pitchers or catchers. I want to figure out where I'm going to be pitching next year so I can get, because he just got married, so I know he's probably dealing with his or going with his honeymoon, so he's probably gonna be like, hey, sign me to a
What?
new
He didn't
team.
sign with the
Like,
Cubs? I
yeah,
thought.
yeah, no, right? It's almost like Boob Nightingale isn't the most like trustworthy guy at times. Yeah, no, he probably wants to figure out where he's gonna be living so he can deal with like travel arrangements, finding a new home, and all that for the next couple of years. So maybe we'll see some news on him or some other teams in general. But yeah, like Gabe said, again, I feel like this is gonna be mine and Gabe's word that we say for every single D-backs news, plans and all that. Just be proactive. Don't be reactive. Don't wait
I
until
think
the
it's
last
too late
minute.
at that point. I think
Don't wait until last minute.
anything right now is so reactive.
Yeah. Brandon, any final thoughts? Obviously, maybe maybe even some predictions. Maybe you think there's going to be some news we see in the next week or so.
No, because I don't feel comfortable saying anything, because I really don't know what Mike Hazen is thinking right now. Hopefully he's back from whatever trip he was on, because I think he was on a trip over the New Year. So
I think him and his sons always take a trip and all that.
So hopefully he gets to work and he addresses the needs of this team, because him and Toy are both on a hot seat. That's why I think the whole trading of Marte makes no sense.
Yeah.
If your job's on the line, why would you make a trade that doesn't improve the team? Unless he believes getting some fringe prospects ready to major league pitching makes the team better. I just personally don't.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those trades you make, like what he did with Goldie, where it's your first your first year in the position. You're like gonna make a splash. You're gonna change some things. That's not one of those where it's like, hey brother, you have like maybe a year left before, like, if you don't turn the ship around, like, you're gone. You don't just trade Marte. But surprises before. He likes to You know, he likes to be a wild card situation, so who knows? Maybe we'll see some news. Hopefully we don't. Just I don't want it to be until February 1st, and we're still like, yeah, we still got to get some more. You know, still need a DH, we still need a first base, we still need some more bullpen help. You know, can we figure this out a little bit sooner? But obviously, we wait on Mike Hazen, and hopefully we'll get a resolution to some of these question marks and issues that the team still has to fill within the next coming weeks. But again, the place to be for any breaking news like that, or just, you know, even get general thoughts, questions, all that, like I said a couple times tonight, is our Discord. Again, it's pinned in the YouTube comments on the Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to. Also should be one of our pinned tweets in Twitter. So make sure you guys join the Discord if you're not. Again, Discord's free. Our Discord is free. Would love to have you guys join over there. Make sure you guys follow us on all socials. And also make sure you guys go over to azsnakepit.com. Like I said, there's a lot of great articles over there daily. There's not just like one of those where it's only every week. Daily articles over there. Our man Josh does a great job putting out some more written. So if you guys want a little bit more dispatch in your life, Josh does a great job. Puts a lot of humor into his articles as well, which I truly appreciate. I feel like writing in sports media needs a little bit more humor nowadays, because the world's already, you know, the world can be bleak enough as it is. There's so much negative going on, where it's nice to have a little bit more positive and a little fun, because that's what sports are. Sports are supposed to be fun, and that's what we want to do here, especially is talking about Dbacks and building a Dbacks community that can be fun. So again, check out azsnakepit.com, not just for Josh, but for all the other great writers over there. And we will hopefully see you guys in the next couple weeks with some actual Dbacks news. See you next time, my friends.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brett and Gabe on the call, with Josh in the back, bringing it.